Hey everyone, Mike here. I wanted to take a look at some of the, take a look at some of the homework problems from section 1.5. And this is the multiplication section. We're going to start with two multiplication problems. And these are all about multiplying when we have signs. So we're going to start off over here with 4 times a negative 7 times negative 5 times 2. And take a look that we have 2 negative signs here. A negative times a negative is a positive, so this is going to be a positive value. Now let's do the multiplication. 4 times 7 is 28, and 5 times 2 is 10. So that gives us the value of a positive 280. Next over here, we have negative 4 times negative 3 times negative 5 times a negative 10. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 negative signs. It's an even number of signs. That's once again going to be a positive value. So let's multiply 4 times 3 to get 12. And I'm going to multiply 5 times 10 to get 50. And we could have instead actually, let's just treat this as 12 times 5 and then times 10. Because I happen to know that 12 times 5 is 60. And if I want to multiply 60 by 10, I stick an extra 0 on it. So 600 is that product. Great. Here's another set of problems. Over here, we've got some here's another set of problems. Over here, we've got some fractions to look at. This is a negative 1/9 times a negative 5/3 times 7/11. Now, I'm looking for values that reduce. 9 and 5 and 7. Now, see, 5 and 7 are prime, and there's nothing here that's going to reduce. So we're just going to multiply straight across. 5 times 1 times 7. We're going to get 35. I'm going to multiply straight across again, which is what? 27 times 11, which is 27 times 270. So that's 297. This is 35 divided by 297. And this is going to be positive. So no negative sign because we have 1, 2 negative signs right there. That's our answer. Next one over here. Let's see if anything reduces here. 2/5, 3/8, 10/7, and it's going to be negative and a negative. That's going to be positive. Okay. Yeah. 5 goes into 10 twice, and 2 goes into 8 4 times. So this is going to become 1 times 3 times 2 divided by 1 times 4 times 7. Hey, look, 2 goes into 4 twice. 1 times 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 2 times 7 is 14. 3/14. Great. Oops. Next set of problems. No. It's all going wrong. I'm a little out of practice, pardon me. This is number 57, based around number 57 in the homework. And it starts with asking what negative 1 to the 7th is. That's what it wants to know. Well, 7 is odd, And if I've got an odd power, that means that this will be negative, and 1 to any power is 1. This is a negative 1. Meanwhile, this next one, 12, is even. And if I have an even power, it's going to be positive. This is a positive 1. Lastly, over here, 5 is odd. So this product will be negative. And what is it? 2, 4, 6, 8. Oops, not 6. We want to double each time. So 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. 5 doublings. A negative 32. Great. Let's evaluate when a is equal to 3 and negative 3. So we're going to do these problems where we've got a whole mess of negative signs and exponents, and we're all concerned about the order. And I've got a negative times the square of negative a. And I want to take a look at this bit first. If I take a negative and I square it, the result is, the positive squared. So this sign right in here is going to go away. So this is equal to negative, then a squared. Without, we square it and then we make the negative. So these are the same. And if we actually do all the stuff with all the signs, we could see that as well. We could say it's a negative 3 squared, and a negative 3 squared is 9. And then we negate it to get to negative 9. So that takes care of that one. And then to do the negative 3, let's switch colors to separate this out. I'm going to take a negative 3 and square it. That's a negative 3 squared. That's a negative 9. These end up being the same as well. Over here, negative, and we'll do 3 again. 3 squared is square it to get 9, then make it negative, a negative 9. Okay, what about when we put a negative 3 in there? That's a negative 3 squared. Okay, so we square negative 3, we get 9, we negate it, it's negative 9. So in all of these cases, we end up getting the same thing because we have the negative of a square. Negative, then square. Negative of a square. Pardon me, I said that backwards, but in the reading order, we see the negative, then we see the square, we see the negative, then we see the square. Because there's no parentheses about this thing, we're going to follow the order of operations and square it and then negate it, square it and then negate it, square it and then negate it in each one of these. I've got another exercise here. This is the next one in the homework that's similar, where we're squaring and then multiplying. So I'm going to take 3. I'm going to put it in here for y. This is 7 times 3 squared. This is 7 times 9. This is 63. What happens? We'll change colors here. Darker red. What happens when we use the negative 3 and we put that in for y? Well, then we'll have 7 times a negative 3 quantity squared. So we square the negative 3, and hey, look, that's 9. We get to be 63. when we square something, we lose that sign information, and the squaring makes it positive. So let's take a look at this other example right here. We're going to do first -5 times 3 squared. And how we read this order of operations is take the -5 and multiply it by 9. We get a -45. Why is this one negative? Because after I square it, I'm multiplying it by this negative number. Well, what if I'm squaring that negative again? Well, then we're going to take a -5 and we're going to multiply it by the square of -3, which is a -5 times, once again, it's 9, the same value, -45. Squaring removes signs. Squaring removes signs. Okay, what's next in our exercises? Next, we have a word problem. And I'm going to pick this color. There we go. The price of a company began the day at $37.27 per share and dropped by $1.07 per hour for 5 hours. What was the price of the stock after 5 hours? So this word problem right here is we've got this per hour and then a number of hours. So that's telling us we're going to multiply by this number right here, 5, because of per. Well, why not this per? Are we going to multiply there too? No, because we're only doing one share. We're looking at the price of the entire stock. We're not going and multiplying by a whole bunch of shares. And then you bought 3 million shares. That's an exaggerated number. So let's take $1.07 per hour and multiply it by 5 hours. What are we going to get? 35 and then 5. So 535 was the drop. So because it's dropping, that means I'm going to take my starting price, 37.27, and I'm going to subtract this drop from it, 535. Great. And that'll get me, oops, I'm getting ahead of myself. 2. $31.92 per share. That's the price of this stock. $31.92 per share. Actually, 1 million shares would probably be, depending, that would mean that the company would be valued at least $32 million. So that's actually a thing that could be possible. Okay. I hope that helps, and I hope that gets you through the homework. I will see you next video. Bye.